So whatever it is, celebrate it. Celebrate it. What's the point of this life if we can't learn to celebrate the little things, right? You're never going to be happy with big things if you can't celebrate the little things. Hey guys, so if you clicked on this video, it's because you want to plan your 2020. It makes me so happy because I didn't used to plan. I used to just... Well, no, I actually thought that, well, I don't have that much going on, but really I didn't have much going on because I didn't plan. Time is tricky. I always hear people say at this time of year, like, oh my God, the year went by so fast. I can't believe it. Where did time go? It just flies right by you. And I remember when I wasn't a planner, when I wasn't looking at my calendar, like birthdays would come up, holidays would come up, 3-day weekends would come up, and I would see friends and family going somewhere, and I'd like be stuck at home because I didn't plan anything. And I'd be like, man, like, I didn't even realize, I was working. I didn't realize this was coming up or whatever. So this form of planning that I do, it's not super strict. It leaves a lot of room because you can't plan every single minute of your whole year. Like, you just can't, but you can plan the big things. It's like the jar with the big rocks. Like, you put the jar with the big rocks, and then you put the pebbles, and then you put the sand, and now you can fit more in that jar versus if you had just like put the sand and then the pebbles and then the rocks, like, So this is something I do every year. I've done it for the last 3 years, and the last 3 years have been a lot more eventful. I traveled, I went to Asia, had a lot more fun. I went out, the last 3 years of my life have been a lot more fun and productive than before, than when I wasn't planning. So if you guys are ready to plan an amazing 2020, then keep on watching. Okay, the first thing you need to do is look at what you accomplished this year and celebrate it. And I know sometimes there's good years, sometimes there's bad years, but you accomplished something. Whether it was spending time with your family, calling your aunts or grandparents that you never talked to, you made it to the doctor when you never usually check on your health, whatever it is, you had some kind of win this year. So don't be so hard on yourself. Write them all down. Think of every single thing. Go through your calendar on your phone, because it's hard to remember a whole year. Look at your Facebook, things you posted, awesome moments you had. Look back at everything and acknowledge the accomplishments you did have and celebrate them. No matter what, whether it was a successful year in your standards or not, you are trying to get better. You're learning. So even if it was a complete failure, you learned something that you're going to bring it to your next year and make that year better. And it's all part of the journey. So whatever it is, celebrate it. Celebrate it. What's the point of this life if we can't learn to celebrate the little things, right? You're never going to be happy with big things if you can't celebrate the little things. Along the same lines, next is you need to be grateful. Make a list. I know you guys don't like to write. I know, but it's not the same. It's not the same writing something down versus just thinking it. Write down, if you have your health, write it down. If you have your parents, if you have your grandparents, if they have their health, write it down. If you got to spend time with your friends, this life is so short and precious. And any little thing, write it down and truly feel how grateful it is to have that, because you may not have it next year. You don't know what's going to happen this year. So next is review what worked. And again, that's another reason why it's so important to acknowledge the accomplishments and things that worked, because from there you can pull the feedback of what worked. Did you run more often? Was that because you kept your tennis shoes in your car, so you always pull them out afterwards, after work? Or because you kept them by the door? Did you move somewhere and that made you walk more? Did you leave your wallet at home and only packed your lunch, and that made you eat more at home and not buy so much junk? Look at the little things. It's not always the big things. Look at these little things that brought you success, so you know to do more of that because it worked. Something worked. So you need to look at what that is, and you're gonna get leverage on that and pull that, and build that into a system so that next year you can do more of these things. Then review what didn't work. You have to know what didn't work. You're not healthy because you and your coworkers have a habit of hitting the bar after work, and that turned into a once a week, twice a week ritual that you guys do, or were you drinking coffee the whole time and hardly drink any water? Did you not read at all this year? What little things deterred you from your success? Our success is dictated by our environment. Of course, it's by our actions, but it's also by our environment. And you are in charge of your environment. So at the end of the day, it is all because of you. But you have to also look at the way you're living, who you're spending your time with, what you're looking at, and see if that is helping you or taking away from you. So now that what you've reviewed, what worked and what didn't work, what story do your results tell you? So it's like looking at a graph, like, take a step back, you wrote everything down. What is it telling you? Is it telling you that you're not waking up early enough? Is it telling you that you need to hire somebody specific? Is it telling you that you're not meeting enough people? Or is it telling you that you have a problem closing it out? Whatever it is, your results are telling a story. So it's your job to look at that story and review what you can learn from it. So once you see what story it's telling you, what can you learn from it? And how can you implement that into a business? Once you see the story that it's telling you and what you can learn from your results, now you need to see how you can implement that into a system. So if you notice that you only had your healthy green drink in the morning when you put everything in the blender ready the night before, then do that. Turn that into a system. Turn that into something that you do every day. Systems are things that just operate on their own without us having to think about it. I guarantee you, wherever you drove today, you probably didn't remember how you got there, or work. I'm guarantee you when you get to work, sometimes you don't even remember the drive, and that can be kind of scary. It becomes part of you, so it becomes easier. You don't have to think much about it, and when things become easy, you do them mindlessly, and they're more likely to get done. Next is you need to have a clear vision for this year. Now, I have a whole nother video of how to discover your purpose. I have another video of how to create your vision statement. I will link those down below because that's a whole other process that takes time, and I don't want this video to be super long. If you don't have a vision or a purpose of what you're going after, then why are you doing this? you need to have that. You need to have that. Those are the things that get you up in the morning, that get you moving when you don't want to, that pull you out of depression or when you're down. You need to have a why. You need to have a reason. So if you don't have one, please go find out what it is. And if you have one already, look at it, see if you need to update it, because people change every year. Your vision and mission statement should change and adapt with you. You're not always going to be you. You're going to change and adapt. And those videos walk you step by step on how to do it. So in 10 minutes, you could know. Okay, so once you know what your vision is, now you need to pick 3 goals that are going to support that vision. Doesn't matter if your vision is 2 years from now, 5, 10, or whatever. Think, those goals have to support that ultimate vision, because that's what you're going after. Now, I can't express how serious I am when I say only 3. We are not good at focusing on more than a few things at a time. It's called the 80-20 rule, and that states that 80% of your results only come from 20% of the work you do. So, and this applies anywhere. So say in a store, there's probably, in any given store, there's probably really only 20% of those products that produce 80% of the revenue. Or in the US, 80% of this country's wealth is only from 20% of the population. And you can apply that anywhere. The 80-20 rule is pretty, so basically what that states is it's only a few things that really matter that make a huge difference. So you need to do a bunch of stuff. Really, there's probably only 3 goals that are gonna, if you do them and you accomplish them, they will pretty much take care of everything else, So obviously you can do less, you can do 1, but no more than 3. Okay, more than 3 and you're just asking to do things sloppily. You can do more than 3 things, but you can't do them in excellence. It'll be mediocre, it'll be sloppy, it'll be half done, and it won't be good. And you don't need to anyway. You don't need to. 80-20 rule, okay? Next, just pick your word for the year. This is the first time I do this. I don't usually pick a word, but it's a nice idea to have a theme, so that kind of what your focus is going to be on. Before anything, whatever you plan for this year has to be in line with that vision and those 3 goals, okay? That's what's going to take up most of your time. It has to be in line with those 3 goals you set. And what I do first in the calendar is I first put the big dates of things that I know that I'm not going to miss. My birthday, my family's birthday, if there's a trip I want to do that I know we're going to do, big events like weddings or someone's birthday party. If there's a seminar you want to attend, put all the big things in there that you're not gonna miss, that it's important to you. Next is plan fun time. Again, I can't stress this enough. I had the most fun the last 3 years of my life than before, because I started doing this. Those 3-day weekends, look at when you're free, when you and your other half are free, when you and your family are free, and plan fun time. If you're gonna do this much work and really hit the ground running this year, plan fun time for you. You deserve it. And then also big things for your vision, part of your vision is your health, and you have to schedule some doctor's appointments, put by when you should be or meeting those doctors, or if you're going to join a program or hire a coach or something, again, put that in the calendar. That's as far as we plan the calendar. So next, we're going to go micro. So this is different than what I've done before. Normally, I kind of plan the full year, but I started researching something called the 12-week year. It's a book. I will link that down below as well. But basically, it explains how in a full year, usually the last half of the year, the last 2-3 months are the most productive, because people now are aware that, shit, it's the end of the year, we're not close to our goal, we haven't done it, and then they're super much more productive than they were the first few months. Because realistically, when you set a goal and it's January or February, you're chilling. You're really not super worried about it, because you're like, oh God, well, that's 12 months away, 11 months away, I have so much time. And no, things are harder than you think. They take up more time than you think. So this book, 12-week year, basically states that you should think of your year as only 12 weeks. So meaning, for me, my year is 3 months. So right now, like I plan my year in October, my year ends in December. So I will do all this again in December. And then from December, my year will be January, February, March. So yeah, that's my year, 3 months. And the reason for this is because 3 months is just enough time to get a lot done, to be productive, and to work with urgency. And he's so right. You do feel that at the beginning of the year that it's just like, you have time and things do change a lot. My goals that I set last year did change a lot. So it's something I'm going to try. I'll keep you guys updated. Yeah, basically now what you're going to schedule in is 5 habits that support the goal. So if you have 3 goals, that's like 15 habits. So the reason it's habits is because habits are what you do every day. They become you. You are your habits. So if your habits right now is to not walk, you don't drink water, you eat bread and processed food all the time, you're not a healthy person. You are your habits. So just look at your habits and you'll know where you stand. So these things that you put down for your goal are habits, and that's what you're going to focus on. And the next step is to take action. So if that means that you wrote your goals and your habits that are going to support it, if it means that you have to have a meeting with somebody, a phone call with somebody, get to it. You have 3 months. Good luck. Bye. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this kind of content, I talk about this stuff a lot on my Instagram. It's the Purpose Coaching. I'll link it down below. But yeah, we talk a lot about like planning and goal setting and how to be productive and actually achieving your goals, not just, writing them down and then never achieving them. I want you to guys have results. I don't want you to guys to be the 90% of people that never achieve their goals. That's not us. So if you guys like that kind of content, head on over to my Instagram. Otherwise, I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about how to get ready for changes coming in 2020. Take care, guys. Bye.